Hey there, this is Emily and Bernie from Third Place Works, where we help co-working professionals with tailored cohorts and one-on-one consulting. Our proven frameworks can help you get focused, stay accountable, and see real results. Want to learn more? Check out the show notes for all the details on how to join us and take your co-working business to the next level.
Hello, folks, and welcome to this episode of the Co-working Values podcast. And in our luxury Vigo studio, Mr. Mark Masters. What are you known for, sir? And what would you like to be known for?
Good to speak with you, Bernie, and thank you for inviting me on this show. So people will know me for creating a community called You Are the Media. You Are the Media is, for people that are not familiar with it, is a marketing learning community. And around that, we have live events, we have online spaces, we have a newsletter that started 10 plus years ago, and we're still here. And the thing that I'd like to be known for, as our second part of the question, I want to be known as somebody that did bring people together. And we knew that we could have fun, and we knew that it was better together rather than figuring out all this tangled big jigsaw baked bean puzzle on our own.
That's delicious. Can you tell me about bringing people together for an ice cold swim? Let's kick off in that point.
Oh my goodness. Good story this, because there was a serious slant to it. July 2021, and we have live events. I believe in this balance between online learning and offline and how we can scale camaraderie. And in July 2021, just before we come back to live events again, and we're all finding our feet again when it comes to small talk after COVID. As I said, before we all come back together, we had hybrid events teed up. We were in the theatre. Didn't work, but that wasn't the point. Let's all come together. Let's go in the sea. Let's just go into the sea for a swim. Let's just do that again. We can say hello again. We did it. We enjoyed it. And we just kept on going. I live in a small town on the south coast of England in Poole. And we'd go, and I have, for one of my big claims to fame, Bernie, is that I have a beach hut in Sandbanks.
Whew, bling.
Okay. So we do it every week, and we still go. And whilst we're recording this podcast, and it's winter, we do it every Friday. And it doesn't matter what season it is, we do it. But the whole point is this, is that no one wants to get out of bed for 7:30 on a Friday morning. But you do when you know there are other people on your side. We have a WhatsApp group. And it's this idea of it is better together. No one wants to go in the sea on your own in January, December, because it's quite dangerous. But what if we did it with other people and they're looking after each other? And it's also this learning as well that the more risky things we do with other people, the closer the bonds. So going into the sea and in the height of winter, it does help cement these relationships and friendships that you can build with other people, because it's not a networking event. It's not something that we're used to. It's ridiculous going into that sea, but the impact that it has and the sense of closeness and attachment to other people is immense, Bernie.
I feel cold just here. I mean, I'm really up for it,
It's
and I'm looking forward to Creator Day in May next year.
Bernie's going in.
I'm going to come and stay with Mark Williams and Rachel Williams, and they're all like, "Yeah, come swimming on Friday." And I know. I feel it'll be the pool initiation after I've done that. What is so with You Are the Media? It feels like this very safe, welcoming space. And can you tell the whole thing about the party? Because you say a lot, like, you know, you want people to feel like part of the party. And with a co-working space, Mark, you know, people want to feel included. And in all seriousness, on this podcast, one of the reoccurring themes in whether it's a big shiny co-working space or a little, you know, corner co-working space in a town no one's heard of, is people are looking for a safe space where they can get focused and they can feel at home, and they don't have to have their guard up. You know, they're like, I can sit down and get into the groove. And how do you get people into a, like, you are the media or any
this is good.
community?
Anything that we're doing, if anyone's listening to this, and I've learned this over the years, anything that we want people to buy into, or if we're opening a co-working space, if we're looking to find momentum with it, and this is the toughest thing, is getting people to buy into an idea. It's easier for people to buy into a product. For instance, if you said, which is why I have to use the word marketing, because that becomes something that's relatable to somebody else. But if I said, whatever we're doing is, here is a creche, or here is a space to learn about email marketing or SEO, that's easy to make an attachment. But when the toughest thing that you have to work harder at is getting people to buy into an idea. The idea, for instance, the idea behind You Are the Media is how we, small businesses as owners, can promote ourselves and the work that we do without over-reliance on an algorithm or paid ads. It just feels so much easier when you feel a part of a safe space with other people. This comes to community now, where you have people on your side. This relates to growth. This relates to our own work. But it's really tough because that's the thing. Whatever we're doing, we have to be clear on an identity and what we're trying to do and the result that's going to be there for somebody else. So that's whatever we're doing, open a new co-working space or whatever it is getting people to buy into this idea. It takes time, it takes work, but that's where the benefits are.
So in the UK, it seems to me that, like in the co-working news, everybody always talks about how, WeWork crashed and Second Home is going into receivership, and there's all this like attention on bigger companies, usually how they failed, and there's loads of those micro, small, you are the media, neotist type of businesses in the UK, and they seem to have to, they make up most of the, revenue or business landscape in the UK, but they have to like fight even harder. How could smaller communities, co-working spaces, micro spaces, like how do you think they can? I don't even want to use the word succeed.
No,
like
I know what
find
it
their
is.
place.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's all about being clear on your values. It's all about being super sharp on our values and what is dear to our hearts, because that can then become attractive to somebody else. For instance, it could be around the space that you're building is around creativity, or imagine if the co-working space is focused on support. And I realize that the more we are clear in our values that other people can connect with, becomes so much easier. You, the media, is built around this idea of community, curiosity, experimentation, collectivism, and support. And so the more that we're vocal about that, then other people can understand that. And then I see that's a difficult thing, because I can understand you have the co-working space itself, and we want people to come in and spend time and money, and we can talk about community and being around other people. But we have to be really clear on what those values are, because once people are in, we want them to stay. And we want them to feel empowered and to represent those values, because this is how it helps everyone that steps into that space, so they can feel at home and they know that they can look around and say, I feel a part of this too.
So with that, this has just popped in my head, so forgive the ill-formed question.
No,
but
let's work it out, my friend.
There's, I think a little bit about advertising, Mark, and so many co-working spaces over the years do like 50% off if they do all these like deals, and I'm always saying, and you're allowed to disagree with me, but like I'm always saying, don't do all that shit, because the people that take you up on the offer will move over there when that offer comes up. And I think the value thing is way stronger long term than the 90% off Black Friday deal for a co-working desk kind of thing. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, because that goes through my head. For instance, we have an event that we have in May, and you can have these fire sales and buy now and 24-hour money off. You want people to come for a reason, and you want people to come because it aligns with them. rather than knowing that, it was always led via how much money that you can take off something that encourages people to commit. And then we may find that they only joined because it was free. Years ago, I spent a lot of money when I was kind of figuring this all out. I made a load of cupcakes, and I made a lot of cupcakes that I handed to other businesses in the local areas, like a lead generation exercise. And if I made these cupcakes, these companies would want to talk to me and invite me to come in and sit around the table. But I realized all that they wanted was free food, and there was no means to build a conversation as much as I tried. What you're talking about here is that we can offer great incentives for people to be a part of, and first 4 weeks free and everything else. But we have to work hard at enabling someone to feel connected to it, and that takes a lot of work. But that is where there is so much reward within that. So yeah, I've done the Black Fridays and everything else, but you really want people to come in for the reason and that attachment to what you're striving for, what you're building, or what you want other people to buy into as well.
I think there's that whole early bird thing is so 2012, there's
it does work though. I would listen. It does work in a way, because I know, because it allows you with a campaign mentality, and I've learned that does work. The campaign mentality thing does work, but it's like what happens after the campaign, and it's how you then have to kind of build momentum around that to the reason that you're still doing it. It shouldn't just be around, I'm doing everything around these particular campaigns, and by now they will all go quiet again. It's what we do. It's what we do after that and around it that supports the reason why people need to be there.
What it is marketing is a commitment, not a campaign.
Hey, look at this. 2020 to 2025 quotable JPEGs. Start today, everybody.
So building on that last little bit, what in 2024, what have you felt or seen has shifted in the way people want to connect and belong to a community? Because I keep looking at it and thinking something's changed, but I cannot articulate it. It just feels different politically.
This is what I've learned. The big thing that I've learned from this year, or from 2024, as we're now in 2025, is if we're building something, maybe co-working space or the space that we're creating that we want people to gather around and belong and feel a part of, is this acknowledgement that one person cannot carry all the responsibility. No community can progress when it's all on one. Listen, I have seen this myself. For instance, where I live in Poole, we have Foundry. Other people are leading little initiatives, maybe crypto sessions, or it may be around accountability. Change happens when other people lead. And whatever we are doing, if we want people to join in, at some point, you're going to have to step aside and let other people step up and have that moment in the sun. And it starts off feeling uncomfortable because you're handing responsibility to other people. Imagine if you're starting a space, you're building it, you want people to come, but it is all on, a lot of it is on you as you build. But one thing that I did more of this year is to hand that torch to other people. So we have events, so other people lead the live events that we have. And the trust is a big thing in this. You have to trust the people when you hand it over. There's almost this unwritten etiquette that you're handing over to somebody else to lead. But what happens is it becomes this boost of ideas and connectivity and opportunity that happen. And the way that I've seen it, this is the way it all works. Very simply, if I listen to this by thinking, great, how can I'm making my space, how can I start to hand that out? Is that you create that space, first of all, where people decide that they want to commit, they're going to step up, they may sign up, or they leave their email or something else. Then it's that commitment from someone else. You have to reward that with visibility. You're letting them be seen. The little nods that you're giving to other people that are part of that space that you've created as well. And then with that visibility, it helps to build somebody else's reputation within the community and outside the community. So that's what I've learned a lot from this year, is around stepping back and when the time is right, to hand over to other people. it is a big step though. But wow, Bernie, that's where the gold is, my friend.
Give it away, give it away, give it away now. What, as you were talking about that, I was thinking about how you're taking you are the media to other locations. And is that, are you going to have to give it away at some point?
Yeah. The way that it works is other people that are part of the community. It's not just by the way, it's not just putting on a newsletter. If you want to do this, and you've got to be quite protective, because who's to say somebody could be saying, now join our masterclass. Now you're all here sitting in front of us. Trust is a big thing in all this. So it's being prepared to hand over to other people that feel a part of that space. We have a membership space in our club. So other people within that are based around the UK are asking if they can lead. But I'd like to open that up. Progression now is how you start to open that up for other people. It still needs to be managed, but you're making it safe for other people. When I say safe, it's like you're opening up another McDonald's. You're not handing over to someone and saying, right, there you go, you now to do all the graft. You want to help in ways that you've learned over the years, such as whether it's creating the LinkedIn event page, whether it is reaching out to other people via the newsletter that we have, or reaching to other people that within a particular region, because that's what helps. So it's not all on one person. The flow to the event, how the event works, it's all panel led, what we do, and how people feel supported, that it shouldn't feel overawed by it. It should be an enjoyable experience, that they feel a part of something, but they too can get the glory. Glory is seen as the nice post that you will see on LinkedIn. The glory is the photos and everything else that shows them at the front with a microphone and doing something that they may not have ever done before. And that's where this thing of empowerment comes from.
I always think there's like so many people in a community who would love to do something, and they either need a bit of permission, or they need someone to like shine the light for them. And there's people who will, jump up and do everything, and then you have to pay attention to the quieter people in the community.
That's so, Bernie, that's so true. Do you know what? And it's seeing the good in other people who may have been happier on the sidelines. Good, quick case study. You ready for this one? Just a quick one.
I was born ready.
Of course he bloody was. There's a man called Gordon Fong. Gordon Fong is a man that lived his life. Grown up in Sunderland, moved down to the south coast, and he was always happier being at the back. He started to come to events. He was at the very first event that we did in 2016. The reason I did events in 2016 was that I could hang out with people that were subscribing. I could chat and get to know them a little bit better, rather than treating everybody as a transaction and I was just selling something to them. I just wanted to know people that were subscribing. Gordon would always come. Then it got to a point where Gordon, again, he's a quieter character. He's not a loud person. As I said, he was happier being at the back. And in 2019, before we finished for Christmas, he had a talk. It was all about having a place called home. And it took him many, many years to feel comfortable and at home. He'd suffered where he'd lived, north of England, growing up. And so where he lived now, it took him many, many years to feel comfortable, and even in his skin and where he lived. And it was that moment, it was like, wow, this man can present. It was articulate, the way he talked, it was from the heart. And it was this proof that you never know the skill sets that other people have, and they just never had that moment to shine. And I know that we have to work hard, and it's there. If we write the book and we do the YouTube video and we do the podcast and we do everything else, it helps us to be seen. But some people aren't that way inclined, which is why it's this belief in other people that you never know that what's hidden inside, whether they are a great presenter, whether they are somebody there that's just a really welcoming and lovely host. But we only know that the longer that we're at the wheel with other people that step into that space with us, because when the time is right, they'll lift their hand. So it's about providing an opportunity for people to do the things that they hadn't normally done. Maybe it is being on a panel, being at the front, hosting an event, or just getting involved a little bit more than what they're used to. That's what this community thing is all about. And no matter whatever our endeavors are, is how we can provide the opportunity to create a safe space where people are seen within the community, but also outside of the community as well.
Being seen. That is another reoccurring theme. There's all these little bits we're putting together for, talking about in our events and podcasts and stuff like that. And that being seen, it's like being seen for who you are rather than pretending to be this, I go networking type person. Something before it escapes me. How do you recommend people get it within the media community, and there's the mix of events and the online thing? How do you get people to see each other and connect to each other without looking like, if you do speed dating, sorry, but without speed dating?
Yeah, that's good. So for instance, because that's really important point. How can I be seen and people to come up to me so conversations become a lot easier? There's different ways that we do it. For instance, on the newsletter sent every Thursday morning. Every week, someone from the community starts. And the reason we do that is that other people can reach out. When I say reach out, connect with them on LinkedIn or go to their website to see what they do. The reason to do that is so other people can connect wherever they are in the world to say, I'm a part of this too. And then when it comes to the live events, this thing of being seen and being acknowledged, and just to feel comfortable knowing you're a part of a space with other similar people, is, for instance, at the Lunch Club events, we'll make sure there'll be sections where we have a topic, but the people sitting on the table where we're eating pizza and food with can have those moments to have a conversation with each other, rather than something being forced than being your 30-second sales pitch. Maybe a talking, people were asking for this, that they wanted to talk to other people on the table. So we found ways that we can do that. And another ways that people feel seen amongst the community as well is that in our main event called Creator Day, from around about 3:15 in the afternoon, we bring together the community, the people to work together and to be together, to work on a particular aspect that's relevant to them. It could be a newsletter or starting a podcast, or it could be wanting to sharpen their USP and to share that with each other. And it's how you facilitate that to encourage ways to bring people closer together, which is so much stronger than the normal way of going to an event. You sit there, you be quiet, you listen to the people at the front, or you go to a conference and you sit there and you pay attention to the person talking at you throughout the day. Whereas why don't we flip that? And if we're around other people, why can't we see each other? Because then those conversations, because you never know where that support or that conversation or that future business or that collaborator is sitting right next to you, which may not necessarily happen when somebody's standing on the stage and delivering a talk that's relevant to the overall event that you're at. So that thing that you talk about here, Bernie, of, well, how can we start to people see each other? How can we? That takes work, but that is what cements the validity of a community. And the reason why you're doing it is that people aren't necessarily there to take from the space that they're a part of, is to know that they feel central to this space that is being built for them.
That's exactly what we did with the London Coworking Assembly events in 2024. And it was sparked by, I'm going to link to a Peter Block podcast. Great. And before we were recording, I was like, oh, Peter, how do we get people to talk to each other? And he just said, just get them to talk to each other, Mitchell. What's wrong with you?
How did you do it? Go on, tell me, what did you do? How did you, what thing did you do?
I can't give away my industry secrets.
But if you join our mastermind that starts in April.
Yeah, 10 grand a month, meet other high net worth individuals. So what? And it's on his website, peterblock.com. There's, I think it's 7 questions. And he said, just get, and I know, I had some kind of, even after running, and I'm not exaggerating here, in the last 15 years, I've run 1,000 small group events in meetup.com and everything like that. So I'm way above someone who has an inkling about how to get a group of people together. And he went, just asked them to turn around to 3 or 4 people and talk to each other. And I said, do you think that will work? And he goes, mate, of course it will. And it's asked, don't say, what's your top tip for, ConvertKit or something like this. Say what is the crossroads you are at? What is the biggest challenge you're sharing now? And then it depends, what, I know, the atmosphere in the event. You don't want people to feel like they have to spill their guts out to someone they've only just met, but like, what's going on with you? Where are you challenged at the most? What do you need to get done by the end of the week, and what's stopping you? And there's that fine line between, bleeding on the page and then just sharing like, yeah, this is going on for me too. And that kind of thing just transformed the feeling around the events, because that whole, you alluded to it in what you just said, of most things you hear people talking on stage could have been a blog post or a YouTube video or a podcast nowadays. And the way media, because we are the media, Mark, the way media has changed. You want to go, the main reason for coming to an event nowadays, I think, especially post-COVID apocalypse, is to meet other people. And, like people, if you and I were doing this, we could have a little bit of what we've done here, and then I would have us go and do Q&A from the audience. And
it made me think though, Bernie, coming to this with what you're doing with the co-working assembly and the breakfast and everything else. When you said that about you're encouraging people to step up and to talk and to be open, and sometimes it can feel very overawing for people, but like, I didn't sign up for this. I just come here because I was going to get a croissant and a coffee. But it's all that work that goes into it, isn't it? It's all that work that goes into the build-up, isn't it? So I can imagine from the previous events that you have, it just... Sometimes when you just step in with my big new idea, we're going to get people to open up and to talk to each other, maybe a step too far for some people. But it's like you being at the wheel over the years and learning since lockdown and everything else, is that you just got to come back to it and just refine it and get better and better. So that becomes easier for other people to step up when they are ready. Is that what you want to do more in? Is that what you're still planning to do more of? It's like I'm flipping the tables now. Are you leaning more into this next year or
mate,
this year?
This is my podcast.
I've got another 11. I've got another 7 questions now, Mark. Of like, what was your highlight of 2024? No, carry on. No, what about you for next year? Let me flip it to you.
It is that thing. There's I don't, partly because I just get overwhelmed and anxious. If I go to an event with thousands of people, it's like, unless it's like Faithless, live at Glastonbury, I just cannot deal with it. And small, like, communities that are less than 150 people, and I don't mean like if it's 152 people it can't happen, but that whole Dunbar number thing, the more I go on with it, the more I believe in it. And we have this thing called Unreasonable Connection, the world's smallest co-working event, because everyone wants to talk about the biggest, the largest, and everything like this. It's like 40 to 50 people in a room getting very connected to each other over a series of events is really, really important to me. And making sure they get to find each other, that whole find the other things we were talking about before we get on. And so many things have come out of that. And, people like you and me are not looking to, oh, look, you met each other at my event and then you started a business together, so I need a 10% kickback fee. You just want people to crash into each other and go off and do stuff together. And finding ways to, it's kind of our responsibility as the people that put on an event and got people to come to it, to make sure people connect in a way that is meaningful and relevant. And one of the like, so many people have said over the years, as I've got better at this, as I've asked other people, how do you do this? As I've asked other people who aren't white middle-class men, what would make you feel better at this event? How would this work better for you, sorry, is they've gone, this just feels like a very safe space. There was one event we did where it was a co-working event about inclusion, and then we spent 30 minutes talking about menopause. And no one, if I'd put, come and talk about menopause and to boost your co-working business in 2023, probably not many people have showed up, but the conversation turned to that. And there were loads of guys going, oh my God, I didn't realize that. It's really interesting. My work colleagues are doing this, and it's finding out the things, and that was a complete accident, but it's finding out the things that are really more relevant than, when you go to a therapist and it's like, you think the problem's this, but actually the problem's over here and you just haven't managed to articulate it yet. It's that kind of Jedi mind trick.
Here's a big thing as well, you just mentioned as well. So for any of us, building the community that we're building, the co-working space that we're trying to grow, is there's a lot of pressure that more equates to success. And when you highlighted there about Dunbar's number, and for instance, Creator Day is 250, 300 people.
I can't
the
come.
Dunbar
It's
number,
too many
exactly,
people.
you're over 150 people. But the point is this: unfortunately, though, we live in a society where it has to be seen that more is better, and because more shows that there's credibility to our work. Whereas what we're trying to do is that we don't need everyone to care about our work. We just need enough of the right people. So those 150 people that come in, we want this idea that we can share and learn and pick up an idea and opportunities that there with one another, because these are the people that become our collaborators, our advocates, and that help strengthen the community. Because then we start to realize it's not about playing a numbers game. It's about creating something so meaningful that other people choose to participate because they can see the value that's happening in front of them, not because you're shouting the loudest. That comes back to what we said 10 minutes ago. We're shouting the loudest because if you buy now your space, you're going to get the rest of the month free, or you're going to buy now because it goes up because it's a phenomenal rate. You're doing it all because you can hang out with the right people, because the right. And this is a weird thing as well that I've learned as well over the years. This is still business. This is still work. This is still making money and do the things that we want to like and have a nice holiday in the summer. You can build friendships from this. And I never thought that when I started all this, is that the people that are on your side, the relationships that you build become people that you want to hang out with as well. I go back to Seth Godin wrote this. Rather than being 1,000 fans and the whole Kevin Kelly thing, Seth Godin wrote in 2010 a post called First 10, and he picks it up again in his latest book,
Strategy.
This is Strategy. And for any of us that start in 2025 and hope to build something, sometimes we're looking too far into the distance. 1,000 sounds great, but it takes a lot of time. But this thing of First 10, and all we need is the right amount of people to care enough about what you do and to truly engage with, because the first 10 people will then tell another 10, and that kind of thing, that those ripple effects.
Has that got the Derek Sivers video in it? You know, when they're jumping up and down on the mountain?
I know the one you mean. That's a good one. But it's all about, you want to champion everything that we're doing. We want to build relationships with the people who get it. This is why I totally get the Dunbar's number. And if it goes beyond that, it starts to become pampering to ego. Because we all do. We want active people on our journeys. And that's like what you're doing, what you're building, and what you're doing your side, and your intentions for Co-working Assembly in 2025 is that, I want to keep going, but I want to keep going with the right people on my side, because then we can make this all feel better, and we can all feel rewarded from it, and we can all take from it, and we can all share ownership, and it can grow organically rather than thinking that we have to be at the whim of the algorithm, or knowing that we have to pay money to be seen in front of others.
See, every time you say your side, it just does something. You got to. I'm going to put a link in this. I'm going to put a link in the show notes, folks, to Mark's Instagram. How are you? How are things your side? Excuse me. As you began that little segment there, and I made a little note of it here to remind me, is when two stories which are the same thing. Is we used to do this in a co-working space I helped run called At Work Hubs in Houston. We used to do this thing called, very much in the flavor of, You Are the Media type-esque stuff, called Not So Manic Monday.
Okay.
And it was at 10 o'clock, and it was a meetup, and people who were independent freelancers and all this kind of stuff would come and sit around a table and say, like, this is what we want to do for the week. And one of the conversations that came up there was like, how many leads do you need? And this went on, we talked about it for like half an hour, and everyone was like, I need more leads. And it was like, how many leads how many customers can you handle at one time? And all of us were like, actually, I could only do like 3 or 4. If I had like 10 people, and we were all copywriters and marketers and newsletter people and event organizers and stuff like this. If we had more than 4 people, our faces would fall off. So everyone was like, okay, so I need to have this many people, chasing it. And then the whole lead generation thing as an independent, freelancer person. And then we get people to we have this little quiz, to join our cohorts. And one of the questions there is like, how many leads would transform your co-working space? And 80% of the people that put their thing in say 1 to 10. So, and that's like 2.5 leads a month, 2.5 leads a week.
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing about like, I need thousands of leads. I need, like, as soon as you say leads, it's either 1,000 or 1 million. And the small amount of people you need to attract to your project, business, whatever it is way less than, unless you're Coca-Cola, or Ford. You don't need that many.
No, we don't. It's about reaching enough of the right people to make a difference, not just for them, but for you too. And it's challenging. We want to make something great, and we want to get the right people to care. But when they do, the possibilities are endless. When people are in, when it's the people that are in, is where the real growth is. Or that's what I'm realizing now. And our advocates and the people that are prepared to stand shoulder to shoulder with us to say that this is good, this works, and is focusing on the people that are already with us and how we nurture that and build relationships and build friendships and connections with other people that are alongside us. And do you know what, Bernie? That was the whole point all along. The whole point all along was to find the people that are on our side, where we both care and we're both up for the fight, rather than knowing that we got to roll our sleeves up and to constantly do it by ourselves. But all we're doing is doing it by ourselves. We might just throw as much money as we can at Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn as well. Whereas, can we find the right people, coming back to that idea with how do we find the others, the right people that can stand with us so we can both shout and fight together? I'm up for that one.
Not half, mate. As we head towards the final furlong, can you have a little rant about why everyone should have a newsletter? Because that's one of the best things you do. Maybe it's the only good thing you do, Mark, is the newsletter.
Bless you. Thank you very much. The newsletters are great just because the way that I can reach out to an audience who've subscribed. And I started it in 2013. It's the one. It's been the pulse to everything. It's the way I can reach out to people. I can see who clicked, who opened. I can see what works. I can pick up feedback when someone sends an email of something that struck a chord. I use it for research. I use it for relationship building, and I use it as ways to promote other people from the community. So,
but Mark, isn't sending it every week like really hard work? And won't people think I'm spamming them if I send it every week? Like what about that, Mark?
It's the way that I look at it is to show that people can know that you're committed. And I know that as long as we're not selling it, if I just used it, and here's a good point that you just said, if we're just using it every week just to punt that we're doing a charity initiative or we've got a new client on board, then that's just absolutely pointless. You just pamper into your own ego. But if you can understand a topic, an idea, that you know that you cannot stop, that weekly, that repetition, you got to be prepared to do the work, but it can save so much time in the long run. Oh, Bernie, newsletters! I should be punting a newsletter course on this audio, shouldn't I?
How to 10x your newsletter game in 2025?
Please,
I'm madly in love with it and the whole newsletter rhythm, and it's just served me and people I work with and projects I'm part of really, really well. And I think now one of the things I feel really changed in 2024 is like social media became even more fragmented than ever. And back when you must know Copy Blogger. Do you make Copy Blogger?
Yeah. A great way that I started and learned so much
many
from Brian Clark.
Yeah. Like even back in 2010, they were saying, no one, you own your email list and this is the thing that's going to be. And then Facebook pages came around and everyone was like, oh, I don't even need a website now. I can just have a Facebook page. And they were like, no, and just emails just kept at it. And now the phrase I've heard people say is there's no algorithm in email. People either open it or they don't. You don't have to pander to get seen and all this kind of stuff.
You're right. And we have to be okay that if someone doesn't open up one week or click, that's fine. They know, but at least they know that you're there. At least they know. And that's what I think it's so important, is to other people to acknowledge that you do the work. And whether they open it or not, it's cool. But if they're there one week and it strikes a chord, that is the powerful thing. And other people know that you take this seriously and you have the responsibility to show up so they know that you're there in that inbox. That's why I think it's great. I think it's a brilliant medium, and it's been my one that I will take to that hill with me.
I'm going to do loads more ranting about email newsletters because so many people go, oh, I haven't got the time, I can't do it. People will think I'm spamming them. If you put in your bank details, they'll think you're spamming them. Before we hang up, so if I have nothing better to do on May the 15th in 2025, where could I go, Mark?
Oh, I've been bloody waiting for this. Right, everybody, come to Creator Day. Come to creatorday.uk. Read about it. Read about more there. Creator Day is how we bring together the wider community from the UK and overseas as well, and how we can...
I'm the overseas person.
Imagine...
I'm flying in from Spain.
Our topic for this year is on relevance, how we can still create and still be here in 2025 and beyond. But during the afternoon is when we come together and we get to know each other that little bit better. We share an idea. We work on it. We work on something that is relevant to you and where you are on what you want to progress. It's about accountability. It's about support. It's about motivation. And like Bernie, you'll be in that sea on a Friday as well.
Shouldn't have made that noise. And it's also, we noticed that it's the day before is European Coworking Day. So we're going to pull, we don't know what it is yet, but we're going to pull some stunt in pool around European Coworking Day on the day before.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. That just re-emphasizes this whole idea of Creator Day. If you're with other people in this space, why can't we do stuff together, do more together? And if by luck there is a particular day, there's a particular day in the calendar that's relevant to your side, let's find ways to make these fireworks come together. We've got loads of stuff planned around it, even an art exhibition. Crazy, eh?
Oh, I love that. There's I've got to stop saying I love that. I love everything. In Walthamstow they do an art trail, and and all the co-working spaces and cafes and libraries and breweries all have art in there. And it's this big thing that's been going on for, I don't know, like 10 years now, maybe even more than that. But anyway, back to the show. We're going to put links in the show notes, especially to the first 10 and Creator Day and all that kind of stuff. But for those, running on the treadmill or doing the washing up, where can people find you, Mr. Masters?
Yeah, the best place to come to youarethemedia.co.uk. And if you'd like to subscribe and to get the Thursday newsletter, there's a button right at the top to leave your email, and you start to receive that every Thursday morning when you wake up, depending where you are in the world.
Marvellous. So thank you for your time and attention today, ladies and gentlemen. If you go to the links in the show notes, there's a link to European Coworking Day, which you mentioned. There's a link to Workspace Design Show, which is at the Business Design Centre at the end of February. It's free to attend, and they are top-notch talks, and we'll be doing a London Co-working Assembly get-together there also. And then there's the massive, I know we talked about the Dunbar number here, but there's the massive LinkedIn group. If you get in there and post nice, good flavoured news in there, not like 10% off like we caned in this podcast here. And wherever you are in the world, be careful out there. It is a jungle. Say goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye, Bernie. Bye, everybody.
Brave safe.